Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Lucid. Sorry for the bit of a delay in this series. I kind of got behind on recording things. So anyway, we're about to hop back into The Sound and the Fury. It is turn 82, and with that we will hop into it. So if you recall last episode, we had begun to implement kind of lessons learned from all of the rubber ducking, or kind of talking ourselves through the turns during all of the recording of the Let's Play, and I was kind of able to implement that in terms of better play in the last turn. So with that, let's get into this turn, which is turn 82. Message from Lemuria. Just claim the thrones and win already. No one is capable or cares enough to stop you. Okay. So Lemuria is a bit fussy. We'll talk about this real quick, though. I'll come back to this message after we kind of get through the turn events, which are not that numerous. Yeah, we can talk about it then. So, we research Conjuration. We summon an Ice Devil. We cast Infernal Disease. We're trying to kill some of Lemuria's dudes. In this case, his Acolyte kills me. We'll watch this real quick. Now, this is one of the nice things about taking a good Thug Bless, is if you have the time to self-buff up like this, on a land province, I normally get first attack, but basically having a little bit of skelly fodder will make it so that he wins. So, Infernal Disease, you can still cast it underwater, but it's not as good because you guys can't fly. Okay. Whoops. Okay, we sent a lot of horrors also. This was our guy who cloud trapezed in. So this is my air dude. And we just have a few things. Okay, we have a thug from Utgard, so that may not be good. We may not win. Though, okay, I think I was trying to kill his thug with Life for a Life. But now he has a bunch of imps who are going to mess up my scripting. And so there's a pretty good chance that we die here. Gonna lose a Bloodthorn. But we'll see. It's looking... I don't know if this guy's fatiguing out. Not really. Yeah, and he's killing them faster than I can really produce them. Ray's dead, really? Yeah. Pretty sure we know what's about to happen to Plague Slinger here. Yeah. So that was kind of wasteful. My thinking was, and this could have gone way differently if Life for a Life hit, I might have positioned him too far back. I might should have moved him farther forward. If Life for a Life hit, there's a... Well, actually, I don't know. I think it's only 40 damage. So it may not have... I might needed to have cast it twice, and that would have been pretty risky. Life for a Life... Yeah, 40 damage. That probably wouldn't have killed the wolf. So it was probably a bad move. Now... you can see we get a just tremendous amount of blood slaves. Also, some of our guys have transformed into horrors, which means that somebody is casting Horror Seed at me, which is a bit annoying. Kind of click through all the events here real quick. See if we have any big battles. Here you can see we get kind of butchered by Utgard. It's kind of a lot of low commitment attacks, and we'll talk about that. Lemuria may have a point here with me going ahead and ending it. The problem is I don't know if I can, and some of that I think was due to mistakes I made. Okay, so anyway, I think this is the same province we teleported into with that vampire. I think so. Maybe not. It looks like the same little Seth Kona vampire. Yeah, I think this is the same combo. And we seem to just be having a horde of skeletons come out. Now, the thing about this werewolf, he's got regeneration, but he doesn't have any armor, so his armor's kind of low. So he is going to take damage, but he is body ethereal, or body ethereal from the Sithkona buffing him. And what does he have? Yeah, he's got bark skin on him too, also from the Sithkona. But I don't know if that's going to allow him to choose. It may. No, his hit points are kind of... He also has liquid body, so pretty close. Okay, but he dies. So more of like an attack sort of focused Scrotty. Was right here? No, here? Not sure which one of those it was. Okay, we died there. We successfully raid here. We get our butts kicked there. And then we kill this little combo here. And we just had that was the battle we just watched in Silvermark. There was a battle here between Lemuria and Abyssia. Okay, and then, importantly, Arcane Nexus brings in 89 pearls, which is kind of a lot. So, let's talk first about this message from Lemuria. Lemuria said, hey, can you go ahead and end it? And I'm preparing to, I'm trying to. I'm getting things that are fire resistant, like these gelatinous cubes that I can use to break through this fort. And then I've also been forging a horrifically large number of rings of fire. And ideally with that, we can go bust through here. I think I had tried to do this before. I mean, if we think about it, I can try to get this throne, I can try to get this throne. I've kind of been losing all the battles to Lemuria. Every time I get a ton of dudes together, he kills me with Flamestorm. Now, part of that, and I might have talked about this a little already, was for a long time I didn't have Army of Gold, which is basically the counter to Firestorm. But I didn't have it for a while, and so for a long time, I really couldn't bring in a large army. So I think that was a mistake I made in researching that late. But I'm going to start making moves on taking these thrones, because I am, by far, I think, the most powerful nation in the game right now. But I don't think it's necessarily a shoo-in, but I think Lemuria is getting tired of playing. The big thing that actually discouraged him, I think, is his inability to raid due to Infernal Disease. So if you were playing against Lemuria, absolutely build up the capacity to do Infernal Disease 3 or 4 times a turn. It will basically shut down their raid economy and force them to only do high commitment attacks if they want to take any land. And the second they're doing that, usually they're at a disadvantage to other nations. So I can't say enough about Infernal Disease. Okay, so I think I sent a message back. We'll go ahead and talk about it. I sent a message to everyone. Well, I tried to make a go at the thrones about 15 turns ago and poured about 120 mages and a couple thousand troops into the effort. It was quite an abysmal pun right there for you guys. Failure. As I think you're finding, Abyssia is pretty strong. You're fighting Utgard, Abyssia, and myself at the same time. As are you, fighting Utgard, myself, and Abyssia at the same time. I'll try to pick up the pace from my side, but yeah, it's not like I haven't been trying and could just take the thrones and win. And I think this is pretty accurate. I think I've been doing lower commitment attacks. But that's because I wanted to secure myself the victory. If coming off of not taking those thrones, which was kind of a failure, my economy was starting to go in the dumps, I was getting raided all over by Lemuria. If I didn't shore up my land and kind of play defensively for a few turns, rebuild my economy, get my dominion out there, it's very possible Lemuria could own this whole island, and yeah. So, I don't know. I kind of wish it went faster too, but it didn't. So, in terms of movement, what are we doing? We still have our little vampires here. We're just shuffling them around where he doesn't ever really know how many vampires I'm going to have on top of a fort at a given time. So if he tries to pop off, it'll be very difficult. Here, we are going to be storming the castle finally. And we've got a good number of troops. The formation we have them in, we have these phenomenal ghoul guardians in the front, and their job is to kind of break through any ghosts which are clogging up the gate. We have these guys who are basically just going to be protection for the mages, and then everybody else is basically entering into a big communion. And let's spend a little bit of time talking about it. So we have Light of the Northern Star going up, so this will potentially allow us to kill some of his immortals, or at least enslave them, bring them onto our side. We have Summon Earth Power Iron Blizzards. Iron Blizzard's going to be pretty good against them. Army of Gold coming out. Anti-Magic, which is very good against Lemuria. In fact, it's so good that a lot of times you want to be very careful about not doing anti-magic the very first turn, because you can get hit with Wind of Death. We've got Soul Drain coming. Okay, no, I don't have enough gems for that, so this guy isn't going to cast it. We've got... normal stuff, just Witherbones spam and Horde of Skeletons spam. Life for a Life. Reinvigoration. I'm trying to pop that kind of intermittently through the communion so my guys don't all die. We are going to do Mass Regeneration. That is going to help greatly. Both fighting ghosts who tend to do a little bit of damage but are hard to kill, and for possible Wind of Death, and then Relief. I don't think I have quite enough gems for Growing Fury, though I might. Sometimes the calculation it does here is wrong if you put a Crystal Matrix on them. So, possible I might. If I have that, it's going to prevent a lot of my dudes from running off the battle. Though it can also send my Communion running in to fight, which is not really ideal. And yeah, I think that's it. Basically, we're spamming out three things. We're spamming out Horde of Skeletons, we're spamming out Enslaved Mind, and we're spamming out Withered Bones. And hopefully we end up taking this fort this turn. Otherwise, we're just shuffling troops around on top of different forts. We are making a movement also on top of Utgard's cap. I don't know if he can defend it, but basically it's just going to be a bunch of Horde of Skeletons spam. You can see we kind of had this big raid here last turn where we took a lot of his land. And then we're just pinging this province to see what he's patrolling with. And finally, we are moving in a ton of dudes here to prepare another assault down in this direction. I'm not sure we actually want to go after that turn. That might be more trouble than it's worth, but we do want to secure up this portion of the map. And finally, we are beginning to make preparations to attack Abyssia. I send a message to Abyssia, and I say, hey, it seems Lemuria is getting somewhat tired of the game and tired of being pushed back. I think I'm going to see if I can push for your throne. That means I'll issue attack orders the turn you receive this. I think that's consistent with our NAP 1. If I'm remembering our diplomatic situation, then just message me in Steam. So we only had a NAP 1, so what that means is the turn he gets it, he needs to be ready to fight me. Because the turn he gets it, I won't have attacked him, but I will be issuing my attack orders. So with that said, we are going to be moving our troops in position here. Basically, it's going to be a ton of wolves. We're... Sorry, I got the yawns. We are also going to be moving in a bunch of the thralls. They can attack from this direction and from that direction. I thought I was getting more demon knights here. I guess I'm not. One of the things you can do with Lemuria is empower these earth random black priests, and you can start doing a lot of the earth shenanigans, like summon. This is really only... You probably would only do it once you get really high in blood, but you can start casting Infernal Crusade. And these are very, very strong units. I also can do Infernal Tempest, but that will require me using these guys, and you can't reliably do it, but if you get Windmasters, you can do it. We are empowering this guy up in blood so that he can cast that if the game goes on much longer. But Demon Knights, one of the things that makes them so good is they have fear built into them, and they have a ton of defense. So if you put protection, like Army of Gold or something on them, and Maybe you throw in mass regeneration. They get very, 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 very hard to kill. And they have fear, so anyone that's trying to kill them, usually to very little avail, will route off the map after some time. So, very good unit, especially once you get to Blood 9. And it is something that I think is worth, especially when you're fighting like a Fire Nation where vampires aren't really that great. It is worth getting Demon Knights because they're also fire resistant. So I probably could have done that sooner too, if I had like prepared. So I think that's kind of one of those things, like every time you play a nation, this is probably my 4th or 5th time playing LA Elm, you kind of learn more things. Like if I were playing against where fire's kind of crippled me as it has in this match, I probably would have gone for Demon Knights sooner. So I could have had kind of an irresistible army. Rather than... I've had to play more defensive because I haven't really had the tools to win team fights. With that, basically the war with Abyssia is going to start again. We're going to try to take this throne. We're going to try to take this throne. I haven't really talked about the script for this. Now, I am moving in some people that can potentially assassinate here. These are my assassin vampires who've got the Black Heart. And my succubus. So they're going to come in here because my expectation is that basically next turn I expect Abyssia will fight Lemuria here and win. And then with whatever is left over, he will probably come attack me here on this throne, since that will be fair play at that point. Anyway, with that, we are still sieging this down. I'm moving in more chaff, I think. How many more? Yeah, another 150 thralls to break this fort down a bit quicker. And once it's broken down, I think we are well set up to win a major conflict. We've got these guys with Rings of Fire on them. We've got this guy who's probably going to be casting Rain and some other things, Grip of Winter. Which probably not great for Lemuria, but okay. If Abyssia attacks. And then... yeah, I've got this guy who's going to be doing Army of Lead and Gold or whatever. So, yeah, all in all, cannot complain. We are going to be going for the throne victory. To refresh your mind, we need 9 points to win, and right now we have 1, 3, 5, 6, 7. So we only need a level 2 throne. This one is... a level 1 throne, and this one, which we're not over, is a level 1 throne. So we need both of these to win. And then we win. So that is kind of the goal. But anyway, we'll see. So we're going to go ahead and hop into the next turn. I'm going to try to do 2 turns in an episode from here on out to close us out of this game. Which usually means covering the turns in a bit less detail. So turn 83. A message has arrived from Ulm. Well, I tried to make a go at the thrones 15 turns ago and poured 120 mages and a couple thousand troops into the effort. Quite the abysmal failure. Anyway, we read that earlier. But a few things happen. We do more empowering and blood, getting ready to do some of the Blood 9 summons. And then, let's see, we have Infernal Disease cast. Not successful. We kill an Enchantress, very nice. And our horror raids are successful again. Blood economy going, pretty strong. A Thrall is being... Okay, more Horror Seed shenanigans happening to us. Okay, so we have a failed seduction attempt, so we kill a Lemur Acolyte. Let's go, where is that? Okay, that was inside here. This lady has fly-over scale walls, so she can assassinate while sieging. Okay. Were there more? Oh no, there weren't any more assassination attempts that turn. Okay, so we kill one of Utgard's... We might actually watch that. This will be a kind of cool little skirmish. So, Utgard, this is his little group of Gamherdings plus an Enchantress. And the Enchantress's job is to cast Protection on these people, which is a 1 area of effect spell. And then I have some chaff plus a vampire, who's just going to make more chaff. These thralls actually are kind of better chaff than the wolves by a good bit, and I've kind of talked about it, but their pitchforks actually are kind of high damage. 16 piercing is kind of a lot. So I think we managed to kill off most of the Gamherdings here. Yeah, there we go. And then we get a rout. And then they're going to kill the mages. But that was pretty close. You can see we lost most of our chaff. There was a battle in Utgard. Let's watch this. If you recall, I moved in a boatload of vampires, and hoping to just fight PD. But that is not to be the case. He moved his whole army back, which is a bit unexpected for me. I really did not expect him to do that, because I don't think I really had a big army threatening to take his capital. I guess he was just thinking, maybe he'll move a bunch of vampires in, and I'll need everything I got. Unfortunately, I think he's also spamming Enslave Mind. So he's killing, like, permanently stealing a bunch of my vampires. Like, almost all the vampires are his now. Yeah. Whoops. So, this is pretty bad. I've given him a ton of vampire counts. The problem with vampire counts is they're kind of cheap. They're only like 44 slaves. Is it worth 25 nature gems or 20-something pearls to make them a commander again? Maybe not. But they're permanently dead for me, so they're not going to respawn. In this case, he only got 2, so I think the battle might have exaggerated my my conversions over there. But anyway, that's 2 at least that are completely dead. But if we scroll up, look how many I make. Sanguine Heritage once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, 7 times. Yeah, so I make 7 a turn. So not exactly a wound I cannot recover from. So that was the battle in Utgard, and then we get attacked by we attack some Hars. I'll just mention real quickly, if Horror Seed ends up killing your PD and taking control of a province, those Hars can stick around, and then you end up having to fight them. Whereas if you do the spell Send Horror or something like that, those Hars disappear after the battle, and you can take it with a scout even the same turn. But if your dudes die to Horror Seed, it's a little different. And I was doing Horror Seed myself. I wonder. Let's actually see where people were transforming, because I kind of want to talk about Horror Seed a little bit. Okay, so it's in here. Was it somewhere else too? Here. Okay. This might be an okay place to check. The way I think it works, and I don't see it happening, is that if when you cast Heartseed, somebody actually gets the Heartseed put on them, and it's invisible, but everybody else has a chance to get horror marked every turn. So the thinking was, my thinking was, and I don't think it's really played out. I don't think it was necessarily worth the slaves or the boosters to do it. But it's kind of a hedge if Astral Corruption goes up. Then, if you've had a Horror Seed sitting in, let's say, the enemy's capital for a long time, where he has a lot of mages, and all his dudes get hard marked, when Astral Corruption goes up, the debt will become due on those hard marks, and those mages will not be very long for this world. But part of it is Astral Corruption is not up, so those debts are not going to be called anytime soon, unless Abyssia wants to cast it. I certainly don't. Let's finish up the events here. Scythia Okay, we raid some from Lemuria. We do have an important fort battle, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. And I think this is our fort battle here, so let's look. Okay, so we've got some devils, which is interesting, not something you normally expect to see. Some of these apparitions who have fear, and some chaff. Very minimal mages, though, just a couple acolytes. So, yeah, I don't think they stand a chance, but let's see. Could be a... Okay, it's a centurion, but not a particularly good one. No gear. And none of his, like, consoles or anything. I think he's kind of, like, given up in some ways. Because I think the Lemuria that thought he had a strong chance to win has kind of stopped doing some of his fancy scripting. And the thing is, you know, if you've watched my Lemuria Let's Play, Lemuria can become very cancerous as the game goes on. I think the one thing this Lemuria hasn't been able to do very well, and he certainly, I think, has tried, but it took him too long to kill Utgard, and I attacked him well into that. So I think if I had let Lemuria digest Utgard and get a few more forts up, he might have more of a critical mass. So we end up taking that fort. Okay, there's a few other kind of cool battles. We'll watch those in a second, but to finish talking about it, I mean, if you look at it, Lemuria's got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 forts. That is enough to be scary. We should all be terrified of Lemuria, but it's not enough to win late game, right? He needs like 30 or 25. So the fact that even small things like that we were able to keep raiding, like he kept trying to build forts here, and then Utgard and I kept raiding him and keeping him from building them. Those were all really important. The other thing that I did in my Lemuria game is I tried to take over the water system and then do a living castle to fill it up with forts. And from that, he could have potentially laid claim. He would have had a much stronger claim on the island. It would have been very hard for me to take the water forts from him. Lemuria is very, very good underwater. In some ways, they're better at fighting underwater than on land. Because some of the kind of things you can use to kill them, like Firestorm or other stuff, can't go underwater. And depending on the nation, it can be very hard for them to mass mages underwater. So with that, we're going to watch True to Form, Aerithia, or however the hell you say it, has attacked Abyssia. And Abyssia has some things, but not a lot. They've got Demon Knights, so we were talking about those earlier. Phenomenal troops, great protection, 22 at the start. Fire resistance, 15. Fear. Decent hit points, not great. It's probably their weakest of the stats. Decent magic resistance. And then 18 defense, which is pretty damn good. And then very strong. They're strong too, so they have very good weapons. It's high damage. And shields, which isn't really reflected in that. So, very, very hard to kill. Unfortunately, they're running up onto the wall instead of out here in the middle. And barbarians are probably one of the few things that can tear through these, because these barbs do a lot of damage. 24? They can get through... Oh, wow. Magma bolts coming in. On Aerithia's side, they have abominations, which is really cool. It is not something you see in most games. I think this is an astral death summon. And they've got these life drain tentacles, Gaze of Death, which it's a beam with 10 ammunition. I don't know. I'm actually really looking forward to watching it. I don't know if I really paid that much attention during the game to watching it, but we'll have to watch. Okay, there goes the Gaze of Death. And you can see it's just kind of mowing through his own troops, which is really funny. That's one of the things I like about Dominions is there's not much like friendly fire avoidance. You know, for the most part, things that can damage your enemy can damage you. Yeah, and these guys... this is not great positioning. Because I think this is like MR negates, and these guys actually have pretty good MR. Whereas his troops don't exactly. Yeah. Like his troops are 12, these guys are 13. So it's killing some of the Demon Knights, but kind of more quickly it's killing his own troops. But, you know, on the other hand, these abominations are going to do a good job of preventing him from just clogging up the gate. I mean, kind of one of the worst case scenarios here is, for Aerithia, is Abyssia clogs up the gate with Demon Knights, and then he has Fire Mages in the back casting all sorts of, you know, like Pillar of Fire and stuff and killing everyone. So we'll speed it up here. But anyway, looks pretty effective. His this is an Iron Dragon. It's not a unit you get to see that much. But it's a flying, very high protection unit that tramples people. And so you can see it's even trampling giants. I think those giants must have been size 5. Okay, and so this seems to have worked out for Aerithia. He lost a fair amount, but most of it was chaff. Like, these aren't particularly elite troops or anything. Didn't lose that many of his mechanical men, which are kind of better troops. Yeah, his water elementals are still there. I think he gets those from Queen of the Deeps. And yeah, basically probably a good deal for him. He now owns, what province is this? This Throne Province, a very nice province for him to pick up. And then coming down here, he attacks with a smaller group, and we see, again, a very different assortment of units. We have this, I'm not even going to try to say it, but a Brass Bull, who has a Fiery Breath attack, which is 6 range with, it's in a narrow beam formation, so we'll see what that looks like. I don't know if I've really seen it that many times in combat, plus a bunch of Earth Elementals, so very cool. And then he's got his Soldier of the Setting Sun, which are very cool units. They do get Sun All, which means it's negated by darkness, which is not the case here, so they should have all. But on this side, oh god. This is not going to be an army which Abyssia is going... which Aerithia is going to win against. I don't even remember this battle, but I'm just telling you. These Demon Knights are going to just tear everything apart, and then these Whites are not bad either. They're very strong attack and then decent defensive stats. And then in the back he has some Blood Mages who, if they enter into a Blood Communion, can do some pretty interesting things. So I'm not sure what he's going to have them do, but certainly he can cast Bloodlust, which would make these Knights even more killy. So I do believe one of these people has cast Stop Time. I'm not sure which one. One of them here. I don't even know which one it is. I can't. Is it you? Don't know. Okay, so a few things have happened. One is Abyssia put darkness up, which is awesome for him. It means these guys are no longer going to get all. Their stats get ruined. Meanwhile, all his guys are demons. They do fine in darkness. They do just fine. I don't even know how he got darkness. Oh, he's got a Vampire Lord. So, super critical having this Vampire Lord. Oh, and he has this Heliophagus. So getting darkness up is huge for this fight. And if I knew he was going to be doing that, I wouldn't have even spoken any nice things about Aerithia, because this is just going to be a stomp now. I don't know if he's gotten Bloodlust up. It looks like it. These guys have more strength. So these guys are hitting for so much damage. These are some of the best in-game units. Honestly, they do pretty well even against, like, super combatants. Because a lot of super combatants, they can get a fear route. And then they do enough damage they can get through... like this King of Earth Elementals Okay, he's got a Mace of Eruption, which does a ton of damage, 39, so it's enough to get through their protection. And nobody cast Army of Gold, which is great to cast on these guys. But, you know, if he did that, this Earth Elemental guy would be struggling to even kill one or two. But as you see, he just occasionally, because these guys have high defense, occasionally hits one. Because I think the other thing, too, is if these guys block with the shield, then this guy is not going to do damage. And then if we look down here, where it's like Demon Knights versus these Soldiers of the Setting Sun, the Demon Knights are going to win in general, but if it were daylight, these guys would be putting up a much stronger fight because they do have Awe. But these guys do have very high morale, so Awe's not going to do much, actually. But you can see it's just a beating, an absolute beating. And that's one of the reasons Demon Knights are so good. You can see this King of Earth Elementals is holding out pretty well. That said, you don't want to be the super combatant surrounded by Demon Knights and other things. Okay, I'm not sure if they're going to be able to kill him, though. Very low defense, but extremely high protection. They are. Some people back here are casting Enslaved Mind, though. Oh, he brought his Pretender God, too. Yeah, okay, so we have Enslaved God coming out. I mean, Enslaved Mind. And I think these guys are slaves. Yeah, so they're actually getting killed just by this super combatant lasting so long. It's kind of one of the odd mechanics in Dominions, which I guess you kind of learn to live with, but it would be kind of cool if the game weren't like that. Like, if the Communion Masters were like, hey, maybe we don't need more skeletons, let's just stop so we don't kill every single Communion slave. But no, they're like, hey, let's get some more skeletons, because that's what's going to win this. But you can see eventually Enslaved Mind hits, and that actually is going to win Abyssia, the King of Elemental Earth. So in some ways, even though he lost a bunch of his acolytes, okay, no, he didn't actually get it in this version. But, so I guess you can see different RNG plays out differently. But yeah, if they totally could have sniped the King of Mountains there, you see. Either way, pretty huge victory for Abyssia. So, on one hand, right? But then he did lose this other battle. So, it's a bit of a trade. Very, very solid victory here for Abyssia, and very solid victory here for Arythea. The problem Abyssia is going to have is that I'm now attacking him, which is kind of the problem with a nap 1. You don't get much time to respond, but I think he wanted the short duration nap even more than I did. I think because I was close to winning the game, a longer duration wasn't really practicable, because Abyssia would need to turn on me if I was like getting Lemuria's Thrones or something like that. But anyway, we're going to attack him now, so we're going to go ahead and go through these turns, and then we'll call it for this episode. We've got basically an army moving in with Mass Flight Fog Warriors, and then Army of Gold, and then not too much else. Rush of Strength. But this is really kind of like an alpha force to just clear off whatever's on the cap. I mean, not on the cap, but on this throne. And then we are going to be sending in reinforcements later, which will be a bunch of the Fiery Imps, a bunch of the Gelatinous Cubes, and then a bunch of Thralls. And those are probably going to be the people who break the wall down. I kind of just want to see what he's got here. So this is a lower commitment first attack that, if it does efficiently kill the PD, it will go a long way to kind of breaking down these fort walls. Holy crap, look at all that wall integrity. 1,007... What? I guess you can go up higher than the base wall integrity by casting... what is it? There's a construction spell? Alteration spell, maybe? It's not Crumble, it's like the opposite of Crumble. Iron Walls? Yeah, okay, that must be what he cast on it. Transform the stone walls of a castle increases the defense by 1,000. You know, for 10 Earth Gems, it's actually kind of a bargain. I should be casting that more. Yeah. So if you put more than 10 in it, lasts longer. So for like 20 gems, you can keep 1,000 defense on a fort for a while, for 10 turns. Not a bad deal. If you have a ton of Earth income, it'd be so hard to take a fort from you. I really should do that more. Anyway, a smart player, he did it. Nevertheless, we're going to start working our way through this. The problem is, I don't want to move like everything on all at once. Like, I want to keep hitting him with waves, because he can flames from the sky me, so I don't want like him to kill my whole first wave. And while I can protect my my mages and stuff with Rings of Fire, that is not going to work for all my dudes. So, like, my wolves or my thralls, who I'm relying on to tear down these walls. Meanwhile, here we are going to storm this castle. Okay, wait, there's something I didn't show you, which we need to watch. We have Lemuria attacking Abyssia. So Abyssia has a very, very strong late-game army. He's got these fire snakes. He's got demon knights. He's got trolls. He's got demon lords. He's got the King of Banefires. He has the King of Flames. He has archdevils. He has a a small mage corps, right? Aside from these elite mages. But a small mage corps. And then a few vampire lords. And Lemuria has not much. He has this guy who's presumably going to cast Wind of Death. And he has the Headless Prophet, who apparently had no head at one point. He has gotten his head back, though he is still mute, hasn't learned to speak again. But he's limped and has never healing wounds. And he's this one has been empowered in Earth. And what that means is that he's going to be able to do all sorts of extremely useful stuff like Temper Flesh. He has a Ring of Fire, so he's going to be basically immune to most of the fire magic. Critically, he is not immune to things like Wither Bones and Dust to Dust, which there's only a couple people in this army that can cast it, and it's going to be the best way to kill this guy, maybe in addition to things like Leech. Also, some of the Banefire stuff could kill him. I think that's armor negating. But yeah, it's probably a mix of like Life for a Life. I'm not sure. I think that, yeah, that would work. Wither Bones. So if this guy is set on cast spells, it's totally possible he does not get in range to cast Wither Bones. He needs to be on advancing cast spells. That's probably going to be like a game-determining thing. And he also does not have a big Astral Core, which is usually one of the things you want to kind of deal with late-game super combatants. So this is definitely one of the things you have to worry about when you're bringing in a big army. Apparently, this dude just got deleted. No Wind of Death. Okay, I don't know if this guy's going to get his buffing routine off. Okay, he gets Iron Skin. But when they get surrounded, sometimes they have a hard time. Like, I don't know if Temper Flesh has gone off yet. Yeah, it hasn't. He's blessed, though, at least. So he has his bless, which is all. All is not going to be very effective against these guys. The other thing is, as the battle goes on, this Vine Shield can get broken, and that's a major source of getting rid of his, lowering the incoming damage. Okay, there goes Temper Flesh. The other thing is, these guys just really are not able to hit him. I mean, he's got 0 defense now. They should be able to hit him. I guess his protection is just crazy. 32, pretty high. And let's just watch. So we can see the mages are not doing much. They're just... We see the horde of skeletons coming in, which is exactly what they do not want to have happen. They really, 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 really want this guy to run forward on advance and cast spells. It's risky doing that versus just ghosts, because these guys can kind of get beaten up by ghosts. So, but if you put armor on them, you don't really have to worry about it. So that's kind of a big mistake. This guy's the other guy who can summon Oh no. Who's the other guy who's... Okay, no, there's the other one. They're both on spells. So advance and cast spells probably would have won him this battle. But as it is, look at this. I mean, he's got the Ring of Regeneration on top of his Bless, which gives him undead regeneration. So he's regenerating just a huge amount of hit points every turn. And he's gone Berserk, so there's no chance of him running. I just don't... They don't really have any of the tools they're going to need to kill him. None of the tools. So, let this be a lesson. If you're going to do a big, high-commitment army, you need to be prepared with that high-commitment army, especially this late into the game. What happens if they throw, a super combatant at me? And one of the best counters to that is almost always Astral Magic, and another good counter to that is Masked Blood Magic to do things like Leech or Life for a Life. So, anyway. I'm going to speed it up here. Spoiler, even though I don't really know from ahead of time, but this guy is going to win. So the guy's out, and now he just goes and chops up some more people on his way out. Now, I think this guy may actually die, because... Okay, yeah. The battle timed out. I've probably talked about it before, so most of you know, but there's a timer to which point everybody on the field is going to run, and then there's a timer where if you haven't made it off the field by that time, like if you're fatigued out or something, then you're also going to die. And what just happened here was we hit that second timer, and because this guy was Berserk, he ignored the first timer to run, and he went around chopping everyone up. So he died. That's actually not that bad for Lemuria. I mean, the gear on him, it was probably like 50 gems worth of gear, maybe. But he had afflictions and stuff, so when he respawns, which would just be in like 3 turns, he'll probably come back with fewer afflictions, and he can be re-kitted. So anyway, pretty huge win for for Lemuria here. If we look at the battle report for that, we can see that Abyssia lost a lot of stuff. I mean, they had... Where are their demon... They lost about a third of their demon knights. They lost about a third of everything. Their mage court did pretty well, and they didn't lose any of their super important mages except for their King of Flames. But that was a pretty huge loss. And it looks like they lost even more, because I think... all the people who retreat, they're not guaranteed to make it back. I think most of them are not aquatic, so they cannot use this passage, I don't think, unless this is cold. No, this is cold. Maybe they can. Maybe they can. I'm not sure. So, if they got split up, retreating here and here, then they might not have lost that much. But certainly if all of them went back to this province, then they lost a ton. So, good and bad news for me. The good news for me is that scary Abyssia army is not going to come attack me. The bad news is that this scary Lemuria army is going to attack me. So we're going to assassinate and seduce. Unfortunately, this lady is scripted to retreat, so she is destined to die. Do not script your Okay, thing is, if you sneak people in, you don't want them to get patrolled out, you do retreat, but then you have to remember to give them a normal script, otherwise they are going to die, and in this case we're going to lose a lot of gear, so... I think Zarya, the guy who played Ryla in my Airmore game, he was so good about always getting his assassins the right script. They were retreating when they needed to, and then he would give them the normal script. I don't think I saw him mess that up once. I mess it up all the time. I just forget. Okay, but high commitment attack here. We are going to storm the castle. We have basically a ton of guys. We are ready for Firestorm, if that's what Lemuria is going to throw at us. And then we're going to be doing a mix of Horde of Skeletons and Witherbones, which is usually pretty good at killing Lemuria. We've got Life After Death coming up, and We should have some Soul Slay spam coming out as well. These guys are not part of the communion, but they're just... I think we have somebody else doing Light of the Northern Star. Yeah, this guy is. And then with Power of the Spheres and Light of the Northern Star, these guys will be Astral 3, and then they can just spam out Soul Slay on their own. I don't... One of the problems with Ulma is you end up kind of mixing Astral and Blood Communions, and then your slaves will end up taking a lot of damage from Communion Masters who don't have the same paths as them. So I've kind of limited... I don't really only have one, I think, in this case, Astral Master. And I think all my slaves are vampires. So there won't be too much like cross-path communioning where we end up getting a ton of fatigue. But anyway, that's what's going to go on here. Hopefully we storm this fort. I think Lemuria is probably going to attack me, but he's also kind of given up, whereas he's not trying to throw me off of any of his forts, so it's also possible he just like doesn't. But he certainly did enough to send one guy out and kill that whole Abyssian army. Fortunately for me, that guy's dead, so I don't really have to worry about it. So anyway, I think that's it for this episode, and tune in next time, and you will see us make a go at both of these thrones. We will be trying to siege down this 1,700 wall integrity, and we will be trying to storm this one. So thank you guys. See you next time.